Hey everyone, Self Swimmer. Just making another post for the IFBB section. Kind of tying up some loose ends from the last Olympia video. I was rewatching the video that I made, and it just occurred to me that I forgot to talk about the Fitness Olympia and the Miss Olympia. So my cat Stripes over there. Anyways, the Miss Olympia was won by Iris Kyle, who won for the 10th time, the winningest Olympia champion in history of any division. And to go back into things that I've talked on the forum, there's a difference between seeing why or how the judges can make a certain pick and agreeing with the judges, right? So I would have probably picked Alina Popa for the win, but it was very apparent why the judges went with Iris Kyle because she had similar size, her waist was narrow, and her she had crazy conditioning. She had striated glutes. I think the only person that had glutes that ripped were her and the other girl, Alana Ship. And so, Alina Pope was just too soft. The Olympia always emphasizes conditioning uh, more than other shows, than the smaller shows do. And so, even after prejudging, like I think I was watching some other people do wrap ups on other websites, and they were saying how they felt it was closer than before, which I agree. But I was like, the judges are giving it to Iris. So again, I would have gone with Alina Popa because she's more aesthetic. She flows a little bit better. I feel like she looks more feminine, and which is not a knock on Iris Kyle. It's just that it is what it is. I think Alina Popa is prettier, and it's just her overall presentation. I think is a lot more appealing. Um, in other news, like other competitors that stood out to me was Anne Freitas from Brazil, and I'm glad that she placed a bit higher. I think she placed top six or top five or something this year, or this past year, and I would have still had her like another spot or two higher probably. She probably had some of the best conditioning in the show. I love her proportions. She just needs to work on bringing her lats up a little bit, on widening the lats a little bit. But her proportions are great, and she's always ripped. I think the reason why the judges don't place her any higher is maybe because she's a little bit smaller than the other girls. But I mean, this is her proportions are so great, and her muscle bellies are so round. And this is my kitty cat Stripes. He's mischievous, and that's why he's an office cat. Yeah. Anyways, um, her muscles are so round and stuff, and she presents herself really well. And her backside is definitely Brazilian. But anyways, so yeah, that was that. And in other news, from what I've heard, the like official IFBB website or something doesn't have the Miss Olympia scheduled for next year. So that's up in the air. We technically don't know if there's going to be a Miss Olympia next year or not. That's sad. From a fan's perspective, I wish that they would keep it. Not saying that I know for sure that they won't. I'm just saying, like, from what I've heard, like different people talking, and also on Pro Bodybuilding Radio, we don't know right now if they're gonna have it or not. So, yeah, like I said, as a fan, I wish for them to keep it, but again, the IFBB is a business, and the only way you put on shows is if they make a profit. So that means they got to sell tickets. And for those of you who don't know, I was at the show last year, and I was watching the female events, and there was like a bunch of people watching the female events, and like a whole lot of them left when the female bodybuilding came on, right? And I talked to some people there. There was a lot of hardcore fans, but I guess with it being in Vegas, there's also a lot of people who they just happen to want to come see the show. They're not necessarily hardcore bodybuilding fans, and so there's probably explains why the bikini and figure were so popular and stuff. And but bodybuilding, there was like more than half the crowd left. But what was really interesting and I thought awesome was that the women's physique division was very popular. Like the seating filled up again. There was a bunch of people even outside the VIP area that were just standing outside. Um, and me being short, I have to like maneuver through people and try to find like an empty space, so to speak, in the crowd, like somewhere, because like I said, I'm short, so that I have to try to stand behind another short person, and tippy toe a little bit maybe, so I could see the show. But it was all right. I managed to find a spot or two, that was good. I had to move around maybe once or twice because there was like some people that were wanting to stand with their friends, But in the end, I got to see the show. Anyways, so I think that's good. It spells good things for the women's physique division. That it's, looks like it's going pretty strong. Um, as for fitness, the new champion crowned was Oksana Grishina from Russia, and I don't think I saw the fitness routines. I would have to go back and watch them again, or watch the replays are gone already, right? But I really would like to buy this year's and last year's, or last year's and the years before, Olympia DVDs, including the females events, simply because like the women's physique barely started basically, and I think that's like really good for like historical purposes and stuff. I think it'd be like owning a piece of history. But anyways, and then also, uh, like I said, Oksana Grishina was the new fitness champ. She always lags behind in the physique rounds and makes it up in the routine. So that's what kind of makes things really interesting. That now that in fitness, the routine counts for 2/3 of the scoring. So you can come from behind prejudging and win at the finals actually, and that's I'm pretty sure what Oksana did because she always lags behind in the physique round. Not to say that she looks horrible, it's just that there's other girls on there with better structure than her, and with physique, I mean with fitness, uh, I've heard from different like online radio shows, like the fitness competitors saying how it's hard because the routine and the strength moves and stuff like that and the training for it works your core a lot, so it thickens up your core, so it's really hard to kind of balance that out with the physique round. Anyways, and I feel like Oksana has improved her physique and she doesn't look quite as blocky as she used to, and she hits her side shots like amazingly to like show her lats, so they make her look really tapered and make her waist look smaller, but she's still a little bit blockier than some of the other girls. It's not like she's straight up and down. It's just that she's a little bit blockier than the other girls. She doesn't flow quite as well. Um, she still looks great, and like I said, she always has like the like insane routines, really creative as well. So, uh, like not just entertainment value wise, like there's also a really big artistic component to her routines, and I just feel like that gives her routines the extra wow factor. And Adela Garcia retired, so she was like actually when the um, men's prejudging, I think it was, yeah, the men's prejudging came on. She actually gave like a retirement speech on stage, and Bob Chicarillo interviewed her a little bit, and she said, she has nothing left to prove. She's won the Fitness Olympia 8 times, um, so that she's like the winningest fitness champ. So that, why not retire on top? And I know like the previous year or the year before or something like that, she was coming off an injury and still managed to win. And I think she's in her 40s now, so I mean, that's probably just signaling to her that she, you know, she'd rather go out on top and, might as well call it a day right there, because, who knows how long her body can keep up with that kind of workload. But what's really interesting is that I was watching more recently, like interview that Sean Ray did with her. I think it was at the LA Fit Expo, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Where she said she's actually doing some other shows in Vegas now. I guess it's kind of be like aerial acrobatics or something similar, or I don't know. Again, don't quote me. But she's going to be doing like different kinds of shows like that still involve some sort of fitness and strength and all that stuff. And he asked her, so now you're retired, have a little bit less work. She's like, oh, actually, I'm working more now. So really, in a way, she hasn't retired. She's only retired from competing in fitness. I just thought that was, kind of crazy, man. But I mean, some people like that, like at the elite level of sports and stuff, they like, have trouble making that adjustment, I guess. And so, but whatever, man. I wish her the best, and I'm sure she'll do great at that. And now we're, getting to look forward to Oksana and see how she does in her reign as champion. And yeah, that just about wraps it up.